I was just thinking, if you're anything like me, you probably think about stuff. Like, I went to the paint store earlier to get thinner. It didn't work, obviously. Sorry. So today, we're going to take out this beautiful, elegant fiberglass tub surround shower thing and this faucet, and then we're going to put in a stand-up shower. It's going to be so amazing and beautiful, wonderful. I'm very, very excited. So as you guys know, I went to Mexico. It was quite an adventure and a nice long drive. I got to see many things like a highway. That's pretty much it. I was hoping there would be some exciting stuff. There wasn't. It was just nothing at all. So many years ago, I think probably 31 years ago, I was building my first house. I was building a log cabin. And I was 17. Didn't have a clue what I was talking about. I still don't, but less of a clue, less tools, all of that. And everybody that came by, because this town had about 1,500 people in it, and it was painfully obvious. Like, you seen that guy and his mom out there building that cabin in the woods? And so they would come by one, and look at what I've done and be like this. You know what you ought to do? Every one of them. You know what you ought to do? You ought to tear that down and do blah, blah, blah. You know what you ought to do? And I'm thinking, buddy, I got about $3,000 to build a house. So what I ought to do is get this thing finished. But I appreciate your help, your advice, but I'm kind of busy trying to build a house here, right? People do that to this day. You know what you should have done? I'm like, okay, armchair quarterback, you couldn't even throw the ball across the room. Please tell me what I ought to do. Let's see your music venue or your albums or your books that you've written or whatever in the world. Like, please give me your advice. And then there's one guy, and he was a friend of ours, showed up and said, hey, you mind if I help you out? I'm like, this happens often. And usually they just spend the day complaining about what I ought to do. And he shows up and it's like, okay, tell me what you need me to do. And I'm waiting for like the advice or what I ought to do. And it never happened. And after a while I was like, so you're not gonna try to tell me how I did this wrong? And he's all like, no, this is your house. What do I care? You just tell me what you want to do and I'll help. And I was like this. I love you. And I hugged him for, 6 hours or whatever was an appropriate amount of time to hug somebody after they say something nice to you and just act like a decent person instead of like criticizing them. The world's full of critics. We don't need any more of those. You know what we need? People that are nice to each other. All right, we're going to get to work. Huh. If you're anything like me, you're probably sitting around thinking like, what is the point of brunch? Like, why would anybody want to mix lunch with breakdancing? It doesn't make any sense. Mike, am I wrong?
Absolutely right.
Well, speaking of other dumb stuff, well, first of all, we took out this fiberglass tub surround. It took moments. We're going to have to do some magic here. It's got a double manifold. See what this means? That means you got two pipes coming together, and then they meet into one pipe, and then two pipes into one pipe. This one's not a problem. We can cut it here and kind of push it back in. It'll be fine. But this one, we're going to have to do a little jackhammer magic to make this happen. But we'll get it, because Mike's a genius. My plumber's going to take care of it, and we're in county right now. All right, so Mike and I were talking last week before I went to Mexico, and I said whenever I hashtag something, I physically write out hashtag instead of putting the pound sign. And so, I thought that was clever because, I'm an idiot. And then Mike goes, what does it mean to actually put the hashtag? I'm like, well, you can search different categories or whatever. And he's like, well, this just opens up a whole new thing. So then we come up with a wonderful idea, and this is brilliant, to just hashtag ridiculously random things. Like, hey, we're working on the shower, hashtag broccoli soup. Why would you have it? But it's important to put about 78 hashtags, none of which are related, none of which have anything to do with what in the world you're doing. So I know a lot of you, especially hot girls that are taking the same picture of your face all day long in your car, you hashtag literally everything. Congratulations. I search it and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm just wondering what's the price of Mexican eggs? I'm like, well, there's a hot girl taking a picture of herself in a car somewhere. Makes sense. The truth is I don't search anything on hashtags. All right, so we're going to get to work because it's not going to do itself. Actually, the last job did. Perhaps you're in the bathroom. Sorry, there's not a bath in here anymore. Perhaps you're in the restroom and then there's no toilet paper. That quickly turns a restroom into a panic room. It's hard to take a nap in there with no toilet paper. I also don't understand how things work. As you can clearly tell, yesterday this was a bathtub, and it was one of those fiberglass surrounds. And then we did some magic, and now we've laid the tile. Tomorrow we will grout everything and put in a glass shower door, and we are so very excited. So a lot of you probably know that Jesus said, "You are the light of the world, and you are the salt of the earth." Right? And you hear people talk about that person's a real salt of the earth person. Now I know a lot of crust of the earth people. I also know a lot of salt of the earth people. So salt is interesting because we think of salt like seasoning, right? Like, oh, I'm going to put this on, it'll taste better. And therefore, like, maybe we're just there, like, we're not the meat and potatoes, but, you know, we kind of make it taste a little bit better, and that's what Christians are. But remember at the time, when he said this to the people that he said it to, that salt was also a preservative. And so if you had some meat and you're like, I want to eat this, maybe not immediately, but soon, then you're like, I'll just put it in there is no refrigerator. So you would put salt on it and pack salt around it, and that would preserve it and keep it from rotting away and being disgusting. So a lot of times, Christians up against other people, hanging out with them, working with them, being with them, oftentimes stop that person from completely rotting. Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to do dumb stuff. I'm not saying that they're not going to do things that are reprehensible, okay? But usually less, right? Like when somebody's hanging around another Christian, a lot of times they're like, you know, normally I'm pretty much a potty mouth, but around you, even though you don't ask, I kind of watch my tongue. I'm like, well, that's sweet. You don't have to. I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of want to out of respect. I'm like, that's fair. Like normally I'm having, I don't know, big gay orgies with farm animals, but around you, less. I'm like, well, thank you. I appreciate that. So anyway, the other thing that happens is, and I see this a lot, you get people and they're like, I'm going to church and things are going good in my life. I'm happy. I don't know, the things in life are right. And you just look and you go, that person's going in a good direction. And then they stop going to church. And it kind of fades off and the salt kind of washes away. And then you're like, you're kind of rotting flesh. You don't look so happy. You're making a bunch of bad choices. There's a lot of consequences that go with that. Maybe it's time to get back in church and get with some good people. I'm just saying. Otherwise, your restroom might turn into a panic room. I'll see you tomorrow. So maybe you're looking for some life tips. Maybe that's why you're watching this video. Never fear. I've got some life tips for you. Like this one. If somebody walks out of a bathroom sweating, do not go in that bathroom. There's a good reason why. Okay, so we've got everything grouted. They're going to put on a different shower head than the one that it came with, so never fear. We got these cubbies in. We got this glass door in. Oh, how beautiful. It slides like it should. We got this cool bread basket thing, and with the accent pattern and another cubby over here. Oh, hey. So, Mike, what you want to talk about? Literally anything. Everybody wants patience, but nobody wants to wait for it. This is a true fact of life. If you're looking for another life tip, that's it. People are like, I want patience. I'm like, do you understand what it takes to get patience? This is going to be a lot of bad things happening to you. They're very inconvenient for a very long time, way longer than you think. And then you're like, I think I'm patient now, God. I've learned my lesson. He's like, not even close. That was 101 class. But you're going to be so patient by the time I'm done with you. You're like, maybe I asked for the wrong thing. It's true, though. Don't go asking for patience. It will take a long time to get there. You're going to be like, hurry up, give me the patience. I want a 30-second aspirin. I want to hurry up and get the vaccine that's not ready for me yet. Don't do it. I'm so serious right now. All right, we'll see you in the next one. So sometimes you're like, I think I want a pancake, but like a little silver dollar pancake. And then sometimes you're like, no, I think I want like a regular size, maybe a couple. And sometimes you're like, no, I want all the pancakes. Like that. Holy monkey, how can you eat all that? I mean, you would have to take that to go for a month.
Yeah, I just told him it's going to be breakfast of the week. This week's theme is pancakes. So, yeah.
Sir, thank you. That's amazing, sir. Truly amazing. Try the pancake for the rest of your life. So maybe you're driving along and you're like, what I want to do is match the temperature outside with the speed I'm going. I usually only do this during the summertime because traditionally in the wintertime, it's colder, so I don't want to drive slow. So we're gonna have one of these that keep the blinking lights out of your rearview mirror. And what you're trying to do is trying to get the mountains in front of you to get bigger, and the mountains in your rear view to get smaller as quickly as possible. There's some good advice for you. That's it driving. Ciao to now. Hello. So I'm down here in Mexico, and I love to learn new things, and I love to share my knowledge with you guys. Okay, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with Eggos. They're waffles, and they've been pretty popular. Whoa! I apologize. Now this is a Sandy Eggo. Oh, I could name a city after that in California. What a great idea. Hello. So I just recently went to Mexico this week, and I drove all the way across to the left coast and then down several hours to south of Tijuana. And everybody was like, I'm so afraid of you. Like, what if the cartel gets you or whatever? And I'm like, calm down. It's going to be just fine. And I drove back. So I drove about 3,000 miles in the last 6 days. I'm a little bit tired. And so maybe my head's not exactly straight. But I will say that you guys were right. It took a lot of guts to do what I did. Look at all those guts. Look at all those guts. It's so many bug guts. Some of those are Hispanic. Some of those are American. Some of those are from Arizona, New Mexico, California, and Texas. Like, the amount of bug guts that I've got right here is overwhelming. And look, I think we caught them all because of the spider web. Now, it's a single web, but it has been on there for about 1,400 miles, which isn't that bad. Now, if you go to Mexico, you're probably going to get some diarrhea. Okay, I mean, it's going to happen. Like, you stay away from the water and everything. Now, let's just say that you make it all the way through Mexico and you get out safe. Don't get cocky and go to a Taco Bell. Okay, I'm just telling you, like, you may end up regretting that. And I think it's just safer if you just fashion yourself a diaper. If you don't have a diaper, then make one out of Taco Bell napkins and just wrap yourself in it, because you're probably going to need that. All right, so I'm going to go out and have fun with my friends. Bye.